Hello, welcome to FBNC News. I'm Truyền. Now, in today's program, kindergartens, primary school reopens at Vietnam eases virus restrictions. Moody's reviews 5 Vietnamese financial institutions for a downgrade. Ministry to set up research group on cryptocurrency. And mobile money project to submit to government for approval. Those are the headlines for today's program. Now, Drug Administration of Vietnam DAV under the Ministry of Health has decided to allow enterprises to export drugs used to treat COVID-19 after a month-long suspension. The disease situation has improved, so the export of the drugs can be resumed, according to DAV. Earlier on April 16th, the DAV issued a document requesting enterprises engaged in manufacturing and exporting of medicines to suspend the export of 37 items to ensure there would be enough for domestic use. The drugs were considered by the Ministry of Health as necessary for quarantine and treatment of COVID-19. They include antibiotics, fluids, dialysis solutions, and antipyretic drugs. Kindergartens and primary schools in Vietnam reopened on Monday, May 11, after a month-long closure over the coronavirus pandemic, following last week's partial reopening of other schools.
With just 288 infections and no deaths, the Southeast Asian nation has seen no community infections for nearly a month, putting it on course to resume activity sooner than most others in the region. Medical staff could be seen taking the body temperatures of students and having them wash hands with sanitizer at the entrances to several kindergartens in Hanoi. Staff enforced safe distancing for students' sitting arrangements during class.
Các cháu ở nhà 3 tháng thì người lớn thì bị nói chung là bị trong người nó khó tả lắm, bởi vì là các cháu nó sinh hoạt ở nhà, bố mẹ thì cũng ở nhà, cả nhà ở nhà, thế mà các cháu nó sinh hoạt ở lớp nó quen rồi. Nên là chúng tôi cũng rất là mong muốn cho cháu đi học.
Bệnh này ở quốc tế, châu Âu như là Mỹ, Anh ấy thì nó vẫn đang diễn biến rất phức tạp. Thành ra là cũng rất là lo lắng khi mà có thể là Việt Nam cũng sẽ bùng phát trở lại. Nhưng mà nhà nước cũng đã kiểm soát rất là tốt, đến thời điểm này rất là tốt. Đồng thời nữa là cũng có những biện pháp cách ly những người mà từ nước ngoài về ấy. Thì đến thời điểm này thì các phụ huynh cũng như riêng mình cũng rất là tin tưởng vào nhà nước cũng như tin tưởng vào nhà trường sẽ có những cái biện pháp thích hợp nhất để cho các con được đi học cũng như là bố mẹ yên tâm đi làm.
The school reopening is Vietnam's latest step in lifting virus curbs, although international commercial flights and dance clubs, karaoke bars remain banned. Schools for older children reopened partially last week.
Moody's Investor Service has placed the long-term ratings and assessments of 3 Vietnamese finance companies and 2 banks on a review for a downgrade. The list includes FE Credit, Home Credit, HSB Finance, VB Bank, and Saigon Hanoi Commercial Bank. According to Moody's, the rapid and widening spread of the COVID-19 outbreak, deteriorating global economic outlook, falling oil prices and asset price declines are creating a severe and extensive credit shock across many sectors, regions, and markets. The consumer finance industry in Vietnam is vulnerable to the disruptions given its risky borrower profile and heavy reliance on wholesale funding. Moody's regards the coronavirus outbreak as a social risk under its environmental, social, and governance framework, given the substantial implications for public health and safety. Today's action reflects the impact on Vietnamese consumer finance companies and their parent banks of the breadth and severity of the shock and the deterioration in credit quality it has triggered, the international rating agency said. The review for downgrade of FE Credit, HCV and SHB Finance reflects Moody's expectation that the pandemic could have a negative impact on the company's asset quality, profitability, and liquidity. Outside of VP Bank's exposure to consumer finance, Moody's also expects pressure on the quality of its loan to at-risk sectors, including wholesale and retail and export and tourism-related sectors. The Ministry of Finance has decided to set up a research group which would be in charge of studying and proposing policies to manage virtual assets and cryptocurrencies.
The group had 9 members, led by Vice Chairman of the State Securities Commission Phạm Hồng Sơn. Other members are from the General Department of Taxation, State Bank of Vietnam, Vietnam Customs, and National Institute for Vietnam Finance. Policies to effectively manage virtual assets were crucial in the context that virtual assets were developing rapidly, but posing risks and might cause negative impacts on the market. On August 21, 2017, the Prime Minister issued Decision number 1255 to approve the project about completing the legal framework for managing virtual assets, cryptocurrencies, and electronic currencies. On April 11, 2018, Directive number 10 was issued with the aim to enhance management on transactions related to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to put it under control and minimize their negative impacts. Governor of the State Bank of Vietnam on April 13, 2018, issued Directive number 02 about measures to strengthen control over transactions related to cryptocurrencies, in which credit institutions were asked not to supply some types of transactions related to virtual currencies to ensure compliance with established regulations about anti-money laundering and forex management. According to cryptocurrency market research company CryptoCompare, at the end of November 2017, about 80% of Bitcoin transactions were found to originate from Asia, mainly from China, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and Vietnam. Access from Vietnam to cryptocurrency websites and trading platforms were in the top 5 highest in the world, beside the US, Russia, and Japan.
The Central Province of Thua Thien-Hue has set a target of attracting 20 domestic and foreign invested projects with a total investment capital of about $429 million by the end of this year.
Top priority will be given to Industry 4.0 areas, including IT, high-tech farming, new material production, and biological technology, following the province investment promotion plan in 2020, issued on May 7th by the Thua Thien-Hue People's Committee. Other fields in focus are agricultural processing, infrastructure development of economic and industrial zones and non-tariff areas, supporting industries, real estate, as well as tourism, healthcare, education, training, among many others. Further attention will be paid to calling for investment from traditional markets such as the Republic of Korea, Singapore, Thailand, Japan, Hong Kong, the US, Europe, and countries benefiting from Vietnam's entry to bilateral and multilateral free trade agreements. As of March 2020, the province was home to 119 valid foreign invested projects worth more than $3.86 billion, ranking 23rd among 64 localities in terms of foreign investment attraction, statistics from the Foreign Investment Agency revealed. The province soared from 30th in 2018 to 20th position in 2019 in the Provincial Competitiveness Index released by the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry this week.
The Governor of State Bank of Vietnam, Lê Minh Hưng, said that the SBV has submitted to the Prime Minister the decision to pilot the use of telecommunication accounts to pay for other small value services called mobile money. This is considered a very important step in promoting cashless payment in Vietnam.
According to the government's orientation, by the end of this year, the proportion of cash on the total payment system will be reduced to 10% from 11.3% of the previous year. In that context, Vietnam's cash to GDP ratio is up to 20%, much higher than other countries in the region. Mobile money is considered as one of the most effective solutions to promoting cashless payment. Mobile money is expected to reach a large number of people, especially those who live in remote areas without a bank account. This type will allow telecommunication enterprises such as VNPT, Viettel, and Mobifone to participate in the payment market.
Vietnam's seafood exports will continue to see reductions in the next few months due to the pandemic, with a slight year-on-year decrease of 5% to $2 billion in the second quarter, according to the Vietnam Association Seafood Exporters and Producers (VASEP).
The seafood processing and exporting enterprises could continue facing difficulties relating to export orders, transport and payment. The seafood export in the second quarter would not be able to recover because some major export markets for local seafood products are still strongly affected by the pandemic, especially the EU and US markets. The shipments are expected to see positive growth in the third and fourth quarters. According to VASEP, Vietnam's seafood export value in the first 4 months of this year fell 10% year-on-year to $2.18 billion, according to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Japan, the US, EU and mainland China were the major export markets for Vietnamese export seafood products, making up almost 58% of total export value. The department also said Vietnam spent $545 million to import seafood material in the first 4 months, about 3% lower than the same period last year, mainly from India, Norway, Taiwan, Japan and Indonesia. In January-April period, the nation's total seafood production reached nearly 2.2 million tons, up 0.4% compared to the same period last year, including 1 million tons from aquaculture. The nation is estimated to gain a total seafood export value up to about $8.3 billion this year, down 3.8% compared to 2019.
Now that has been FBNC News for today. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time.